Helen and Dylan go to the movies. Can you spot anything odd in this place? There's a spider hiding in this guy's popcorn. This lady has a working camera, which is not allowed in the movies. The seats are numbered in a random order in this row, and there's a monster hiding behind the seats. Can you spot a criminal among these two truck drivers? The second guy is just shipping tomatoes, but someone scrawled the word help on the window of the first truck. Therefore, the first driver is the criminal. Can you guess which driver is more dangerous? The second one. Who uses such weird decor for his car? Breaking news! Someone stole exclusive diamond shoes from the local museum. Many people visited the exhibition that day, but the criminal had left no clue. The police arrive at the crime scene. Detective Smith checks the camera records and spots the thief right away. What about you? Something about this lady is very suspicious. Her height increases in the second footage. This probably means that she's wearing the stolen diamond shoes. Kelly throws a pajama party, but one of her guests is a criminal. Can you guess who? This lady is a thief. She hid the stolen items inside a pillow. Let's check how eagle-eyed you are. Can you spot 3 differences between these two pictures? Here they are. Yes! What about these pictures? Are they identical? Nope, there are 3 differences. Can you see 3 differences here? Here they are. Great job! Yes! Philip runs a publishing house. One day, he gets an anonymous message. His best illustrator, Victor, has a secret relationship with one of his female co-workers. Only 4 ladies work in Philip's farm. Sheila is an SMM manager. She has just returned from the Maldives. It was her honeymoon. Bella is a content manager. She's very shy and lives with 5 dogs. Lily is a part-time writer. She's single and parties all the time. And Kelly is an office manager. She's very ambitious and writes her own book in her spare time. Can you guess Victor's secret crush? Bella! Philip has white dog hair on his jacket, just like Bella. Crystal is a doctor. She arrives at a medical conference and takes several pictures with her colleagues before the event. In an hour, the local janitor finds Crystal unconscious in the storage room. Later, Crystal gets better and tells the police, "I was walking to the toilet. The last thing I remember was someone pushing me from behind. I don't know who did it." Police questioned all the doctors. Everyone claims that they were listening to the report when the attack took place. Officers examine the pictures before the conference and immediately identify the criminal. What about you? Crystal tried to protect herself and tore the string on the criminal's neck.
Oh my god!
So it was this guy with a broken badge. Harold is the richest man in town. This evening, he lost his memory because of a car accident. His only family is his daughter. When Harold wakes up in a hospital, 2 ladies claim to be his daughters. One of them is lying. Can you help Harold identify the real one? There's a photo frame near Harold's bed with a picture of him with his daughter. She has a mole on her cheek, and this lady too. So she's the real daughter. Peter gets lost in a haunted house and finds 3 doors. He needs to choose one of them to escape. There's a cute family of polar bears behind the first door. A couple of hungry, angry wolves are waiting behind the second door, and they haven't been eating for 7 years. And there are hundreds of venomous snakes behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Wolves can't survive without food for so long, so they're not a threat anymore. Mary is heading back home from work through a forest road. Somewhere along the way, she gets lost. She comes across 3 caves. Mary needs to choose one of them to go ahead. There are venomous scorpions inside the first cave. They can't wait to bite Mary. Inside the second cave, there's a tiger that will eat her alive. And inside the third cave, there are man-eating bats. Which cave is more or less safe? If you noticed, the sun is still up. It's daytime and bats are sleeping, so the third cave is the safest option for Mary. Detective Smith gets a task to investigate a robbery. He questions a witness who saw the thief escaping. He says, "In my car's mirror, I saw a masked man driving away in panic, but I wrote down the number of his car." Detective Smith takes the note with the number. Police find 4 cars with similar number plates. Detective Smith carefully examines all 4 cars and figures out which one of them belongs to the robber. How? Since the witness looked at the car number through his mirror, the image was reflected. It means that this was the original car number. Amy lives with her 3 sisters. She's a professional violinist. Her sister always complains that she loves music more than her own family. One day, Amy leaves for the gym, and when she returns home in the evening, she discovers that all her super expensive violins are broken.
Oh, God.
She immediately calls the police. Detective Smith arrives and interrogates everyone. Amy's elder sister, Sarah, says, "I was sleeping the whole time. I don't know anything." Detective Smith asks her what the other sisters were doing at the time. They were both reading books and eating dinner in the living room. Only the younger sister was having fun at a party downtown. Detective Smith immediately realizes who broke the violins. What about you? If Sarah was sleeping, how did she know who was doing what?
Duh.
This implies that she's hiding something. A woman in tears enters Detective Smith's office and asks for his help. She explains, "I was walking down the road when a man approached me from behind, snatched my phone from my hand, and ran away." But Detective Smith suspects 3 people and invites all of them, but everyone says that they didn't steal the lady's phone. Detective Smith checks their phones and immediately understands who did it. Can you guess who snatched the phone? Take a look at the wallpapers. This is the lady's dog, so the first guy stole her
Oh,
phone.
no.
After a particularly large snowfall, Chuck walks outdoors. He discovers a weird thing. He has half as much snow in his yard as his neighbors, but it seems like Chuck is not surprised at all. Can you guess why? Simple. Chuck's yard is half the size of his neighbor's. Vicky is filming a video blog about this haunted house. Suddenly, she freaks out because this place is full of frogs. How many frogs can you see in this picture? The correct answer is 11. Vicky runs away to the basement and sees a creepy collection of clown masks. How many masks can you spot? This one is not a mask, it's a portrait. Philip is walking down the street. Suddenly, a woman approaches him from behind and sneaks his wallet. She runs away and hides in one of the houses. Philip follows her. The owner of the house is inside. Philip asks him, Has anyone visited you today? The owner replies, Nope, neither have I left the house. I live here alone and work from home. After hearing the owner's words, Philip knows for sure that this guy is a liar.
Oh.
How come? There are 3 cups of hot tea at the table and female sandals standing near the door. So he's probably an accomplice of the thief. Ali and Zara went skiing. Take a close look at both of them. Which girl is in danger? It's Zara. Look, there's an avalanche right behind her. Ryan and Jessica went ice skating. One of them is in danger. But who? Take a careful look at the pictures. It's Ryan. The ice where he stands is cracking. Two families, the Johnsons and the Smiths, went camping in the forest for a day to spend quality time together and build a snowman. Which family isn't being smart? Look, the Smiths stopped right under a dangerous tree. The branch can fall off. It's not the best spot. They should definitely move as soon as possible. Elizabeth and Kate are late for work, so they're driving above the speed limit. Which one of them puts herself and others in greater danger? Elizabeth. The road she's driving on is icy. Kate isn't being the most careful person as well, but at least the road she's driving is clean. Jane and Sadie were walking around town and found an appealing holiday tree with sweets on it. Of course, both decided to eat something off the tree. Which one of them isn't being smart? It's Jane. Look at the bird right next to the tree. It doesn't seem like whatever it ate was good. Even though Sadie does badly by eating sweets for decoration, at least it probably won't hurt her. Mrs. Bell has 3 daughters, Alyssa, Cassidy, and Poppy. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Stella, Wendy, or Haley? Mrs. Bell seems to choose names with double letters, so she'll probably name the girl Stella. Mrs. Jones is a math teacher who has 3 students she is teaching privately. One day, she walked into the classroom and saw that someone had broken a window. Of course, all of them denied doing it. Alice, Bea is lying. Bea, Cece is lying. Cece, both Alice and Bea are lying. Only one of the students is telling the truth. Who? If Alice is the one to tell the truth, then Bea is lying and Cece is telling the truth about Alice lying, which is a contradiction. If Cece is telling the truth, then Alice is lying about Bea lying. So Bea is telling the truth, which is another contradiction. If Bea is telling the truth, then Cece is lying about both girls lying, because Bea is telling the truth. There's no contradiction, so Bea is the only one telling the truth. Mrs. Rowan is an owner of a successful startup, and she's looking for an intern to do data analysis. She's looking through resumes and she needs to decide whom to invite to an interview. Take a look at the interviews one by one and try to figure out which ones aren't fake. Here's the first one. What do you think? Should Mrs. Rowan invite this candidate for an interview? No, I wouldn't invite this candidate. The work is in data analysis, but she has a master's in American literature. These subjects aren't related. Okay, here's the next candidate. What do you think? Should Mrs. Rowan speak with her? If what this woman is saying is true, then with her 8 years of experience, she is definitely overqualified for the job. I wouldn't invite her. Okay, here's the next candidate. Do you think this one is worth the shot? Will you recommend inviting her for an interview? She seems to be a great candidate. Green light. See you at the interview. What about this young man? Should Mrs. Rowan give him a chance? He seems fine to me. Let's see what he has to say during the interview. Okay, here's the last candidate for today. What do you think? Should we give her a chance? Well, she sounds reasonable. Let's give her a chance, and Mrs. Rowan will see how she does during the interview. So, all in all, we invited 3 candidates. Good job! Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. That's never happened before. Instead, she found a witch's house, walked in, petted a cat, and asked the witch to take her home. The witch was busy making a new potion and needed Esme's help. She had to add 7 ingredients, but she didn't remember the order. She remembered that herbs must be added third. 2 steps before herbs, she must add spiders. Mouse hairs should be added last. Spiderweb goes right before mouse hairs. Grated stone is right after herbs. The magic powder goes sometime before the flower petals. What's the correct order? We know that herbs go third. If spiders are 2 steps before then they're the first ones. Mouse hairs are last, and the spiderweb is 6th. Grated stone is after herbs, so it's the 4th step. Only steps 2 and 5 are missing now. So if magic powder goes before flower petals, then the magic powder is step 2, and flower petals are step 5. Now, I have a brain teaser for you. Listen carefully. I look at you, you look at me. I raise my right, you raise your left. What am I? Of course, it's your reflection in a mirror. Yesterday was Lily's birthday, and she turned 16. The next time it's her birthday, she'll turn 20. How is it possible? Lily was born on February 29th, which only happens once every 4 years. She'll get older, but her exact birthday will be only in 4 years when she turns 20. Okay, a bit of simple math now. In math class, 14 students are girls. 8 students have blonde hair. 2 of the students are either girls or they are blonde. If 5 students in the class are blonde girls, how many students are in the class? Okay, so if there are 5 blonde girls and 8 blonde people, it means that there are 3 blonde guys. Plus, possibly some more guys who aren't blonde. The riddle says that 2 people aren't girls and aren't blonde, so that's them. So, 14 girls plus 3 blonde guys plus 2 non-blonde guys make it 19 students in the math class. Luna wants to buy a new skateboard, and she'll need to save $120 for it. If she saves $10 a month, it'll take her 12 months to save $120, which is too long. If she saves $20 each month, it'll take her 6 months, but it's almost all her pocket money. If Luna saves $15 each month, how long will it take her to save $120? It'll take her 8 months. Maddie cycles as a hobby, and she's competing in a cross-country race. Just before the finish line, she overtakes the person cycling third. What place did Maddie finish in? She overtook the third racer. She became third herself. I have 2 siblings, Emma and Maya. When I was 17, Emma was twice as old as Maya. When Emma was 23, Maya was twice as old as me. So how old was I when Maya was 10 years old? Eight years old. A group of high school students is going on a trip by bus, and their teacher should arrange the seats. She has the remaining 5 students she should arrange in 5 seats next to each other. Here's what the teacher knows. Joe and Dan are best friends, so they will make a lot of noise if they sit next to each other. Evie and Liana argue a lot, so they can't sit together as well. Beth refuses to sit next to the boys and doesn't like to take aisle seats or window seats. How can the seats be arranged? Since Beth doesn't like aisle and window seats, she will have 2 neighbors, and both of them should be girls. We also can't leave 2 seats next to each other because Joe and Dan should be separated. So, Beth is sitting in the middle, Evie and Liana are on her left and right, and Joe and Dan are on the edges. Let's spend the next 10 minutes or so on a nice and refreshing brain workout, shall we? Ready? Go! There are some flowers growing in the field and some bees flying over them. How many flowers and bees are there if both of the following statements are true? If all the bees land on all the flowers, 1 bee for a flower, 1 bee won't get a flower. If every 2 bees decide to share a flower, 1 flower will be left without a bee. If you answered that there were 4 bees and 3 flowers, you're absolutely right. Anna majored in accounting at university. Her roommates wanted to test her intelligence. They took 3 envelopes and wrote some messages on them. Then they put the answers to Anna's exam questions in one of the envelopes. Only one envelope had a truthful message written on it. The other 2 were false. Anna wasn't allowed to open the envelopes and could only pick one. The first message read, "There are no exam answers here." The second one was, "The exam answers are here." And the third message read, "The exam answers aren't in the second envelope." Which envelope should Anna pick? The third one. It tells the truth, which means the exam answers are in the first envelope. A businessman was about to go through a security check at the airport when he realized someone had taken his luggage. The airport police had 3 suspects. Lisa said, "I wouldn't take someone's old brown bag. I have my own." Mike explained he was a light traveler and didn't have luggage. He put everything in his backpack. Rob had a broken arm and a sprained ankle. He could hardly carry anything. The police immediately knew who had done it. Can you figure it out? It was Lisa. Nobody told her the luggage was brown. One day, Detective Morris was patrolling a local park. As soon as he entered it, he saw several bags with sand. He kept walking and soon came across a picnic basket and binoculars. A few feet further, he saw some items of clothing and a large, colorful sheet. There was also an unconscious man lying on the ground. The detective immediately figured out what had happened. Can you? The man was flying in a hot air balloon. When it started to lose altitude, he tried to make the balloon lighter, but his attempt was unsuccessful. When several friends decided to play cards, they noticed that a few cards had been lost. But they found out that if they dealt the rest of the cards among 4 people, 3 cards would remain. If they dealt these cards between 3 people, 2 cards would remain. And if they distributed the cards among 5 people, again, 2 cards would remain. How many cards were left in the pack? There were 47 cards left in the pack. Let's see. If 47 is divided by 4, 3 is left out. And if 47 is divided by either 3 or 5, 2 is left out. Scott and Mary were on vacation. One day, Mary told Scott she couldn't go to the beach with him because she was feeling unwell. When Scott came back to the room to grab his phone, Mary was gone. He found her by the pool and asked, "Are you alone here?" She nodded, but Scott immediately realized she was lying. How? There were 2 drinks on her table and 2 fruit platters. And now, I've got probably one of the coolest tasks for you. I'll show you different products and you'll need to figure out if they're real products or cakes. Let's start. It looks like a regular bag of Doritos. Can it be anything else? Look at that, it's a cake! Here's a pretty normal cheeseburger, I would say. But what secret is it hiding? It's cake again. Wow, I'd love to try it. Oh, a tube of toothpaste. Can it be cake too? Ah, no, just some regular toothpaste. Thought so. And some good old toilet paper, right? No, you must be kidding me. It looks so realistic. A corn cob. Yummy. It looks delicious, but can it be a cake? Oh my, it is! I'm not sure what I'd prefer now, though. A cake or some sweet corn? How about this sneaker? Is it real or edible? And again, it's a cake. How is it even possible? Oh my god. Now, it must be an orange, right? There's no way it can be a cake. It just looks too realistic. And indeed, it's a real fruit. An eggplant or a cake shaped like an eggplant? That's the question. Oh, I see. It's the real thing. Okay, what do we got here? A banana. A pretty realistic banana if you ask me. Can it be a cake? Apparently the answer is yes, it can. Wow. How about this cup of coffee with milk? I can't believe my eyes. It's a cake. You've got to be kidding me.
Oh my god!
And the last one, the toughest. Is it a clock or a cake? I mean, I'm almost sure it's a real clock, but you never know. It's a cake! Wow, this task has blown my mind. But back to our detective riddles. Amy won $20 million in the lottery. The night after she received the money, she stayed at the most expensive hotel and made a video. It was about her life and how she hadn't seen her sister since childhood. The next day, 3 girls showed up, claiming to be her sister. All of them looked so much alike, but which one tells the truth? It's the lady on the right. She has the same mole as Amy on her cheek, a tattoo with the letter A, and a tattoo with 2 girls holding hands. Mrs. Kim called the school principal to report someone had taken her student's test. She added that she had noticed a stranger wearing school clothes, gloves, and a red mask. This person also had 3 star tattoos on their fingers. The principal didn't believe her. Why? She said the person was wearing gloves, but then how did she see 3 star tattoos on the intruder's fingers? 2 friends, Mark and Timothy, were walking home from the supermarket with their purchases. That was the last week before the winter holidays, so they had a lot of bags. Mark kept complaining about how heavy his bags were. Then, Timothy told him, "I don't understand what you're upset about. If you gave me one of your bags, I would have twice as many bags as you. And if I gave you one of my bags, we would have the same number." How many bags were the guys carrying? Timothy had 7 bags, while Mark was goofing off and carrying only 5 bags. The art museum owner was visiting the construction site to see the progress. At some point, he left his briefcase with important documents on the table. A worker grabbed it and ran away. The museum owner didn't see who it was, but he immediately called the police. There were 3 suspects. The architect said he had been talking on the phone trying to get electricity for the site as there was none. The manager told the police he had been teaching his staff to work as a team. The electrician explained he had been down in the basement trying to fix a broken lamp. The detectives immediately figured out who was lying. Can you? It was the electrician. There was no electricity at the construction site. Oh no! Soon after Bob became prom king, he vanished. His teachers were looking for him everywhere. They believed there were 3 people who could be behind his disappearance. Bob's rival Joe said he had been dancing all night with his girlfriend and hadn't seen Bob. Bob's classmate Dennis claimed he hadn't been feeling so well, so he spent all night in the lounge. Laura, Bob's secret admirer, said she had been counting the votes. The teachers immediately realized who knew something about Bob's disappearance. And have you figured it out? It was Laura. Bob had already become prom king. She didn't need to count the votes. Just look at this. A car has crashed into a restaurant window, smashing it. Detective Harris has come to investigate the case. There are 2 suspects, Julie and Douglas. But each of them claims that the other person did it. Can you help the detective figure out who is lying? It's Julie. The tire tracks on the ground belong to her car. Adam was driving home late at night when he noticed he was about to run out of gas. He stopped at a gas station to fill his tank and buy some snacks. Inside, there was a cashier and another customer dressed in black. When Adam came up to the employee to pay, she told him $5.05. Adam paid, went outside, and called the police to report an emergency. Why did he do it? The cash register showed $18.35, but the cashier said $5.05, which looks like SOS. Detective Harris was walking along the street when he heard some noise. He decided to check out what had happened. It turned out that some man had grabbed an elderly lady's bag and run away. The detective ran in the direction the witnesses showed him. After he turned the corner, he saw 3 doors. He knocked on the first one. The apartment owner, Patrick, opened the door. The man told the detective he'd just returned from a long run. Another man, Jerry, opened the second door. He said he'd been playing basketball behind his house. The third apartment belonged to Raymond, a musician. He had just finished composing a new piece of music. After talking to all these people, Detective Harris understood who the criminal was. Have you figured it out? The thief is Jerry. He claimed he'd been playing basketball, but he was holding a football while talking to the detective. Sarah and her sister Mary were doing some shopping. When they were leaving a grocery store, Sarah pointed at some young man and exclaimed, "Look, my nephew is over there!" Her sister replied, "Oh right, but it's not my nephew." How is it possible? The young man is Mary's son. Gemma returned from Asia and brought a precious porcelain figurine. She organized a party and invited all her friends to tell them about her journey. They had a great time, but after her friends left, the woman realized the figurine had disappeared. She called the police and showed them the photos she had taken at the party. One of the officers immediately realized who had stolen the figurine. Did you understand it too? It was this girl. She hid the figurine under her hat. At 9 a.m., Ethan got a call from his friend, an owner of a large business. The man said that a very important document had disappeared from his office. It had been on his desk the evening before, but now it was nowhere to be found. Ethan immediately came there to question his friend's employees. Soon, he had 3 suspects. Walter said he'd spent the previous evening at the movies. Joan had dinner with her friends, and Zachary visited an art gallery. It didn't take Ethan long to understand who was lying. Do you know it too? It was Walter. His ticket isn't torn. It means he didn't enter the movie theater. Now, look at these hands and try to figure out which person is married. If you look at the first hand attentively, you'll realize it doesn't belong to a grown-up person. On the second hand, there is a mark left by a ring, but there's no ring itself. It must mean that the person is no longer married. On the third hand, there's no ring either, but it's the right hand, and we wear wedding rings on the left hand. So out of these 3, this person is most likely to be married. Okay, the next challenge is for you. Look at these 3 men. They're at the airport. Which of these guys is married? All of these men are holding their passports and tickets in their hands. None of them is wearing a wedding ring. But pay attention to the man sitting on the bench. On his ticket, it's written, "Family discount." So, he must be the one who's married. Now look at this picture attentively. Does anything strike you as strange? It's winter, but butterflies are flying around the snowman. Now, try to figure out what's wrong with this image. It's the snowman again. Instead of a carrot, his nose is made of broccoli. And the last image for you to analyze. Why does the guy on the right need ski poles if he's going to snowboard? Marcus woke up in a dark basement with just one candle burning on the table. He saw 3 doors in one of the walls and 3 keys lying on the table. How many attempts will the guy need to figure out the key for each door? He'll need 6 attempts at the most, 3 of them for the first key, 2 attempts for the second key and 2 remaining doors, and just 1 attempt for the last key. But if Marcus is extremely lucky, he might need just 3 attempts. Alicia's mom asked the girl to do some grocery shopping. She gave her a shopping list and her bank card. But the woman knew her daughter was very absent-minded. That's why she gave Alicia a small note in case she forgot the card's PIN number. When the girl was at the register, she realized she had indeed forgotten the PIN. Alicia pulled the note out of her pocket and immediately remembered the code. Can you figure out what it was if the note had a fly, a cat, a person, and a snake drawn on it? The PIN was 6420. Alicia just had to count the number of legs of each creature. A fancy restaurant in Los Angeles was offering a promotional deal. A married couple could eat at the restaurant for half price on their anniversary. To prevent scams, the couple would need proof of their wedding date. On a Thursday evening, a couple entered the restaurant and claimed it was their anniversary, but they didn't have any proof. The restaurant manager was called to speak with the couple. When the manager asked to hear about their wedding day, the wife said, "Oh, it was a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Birds were chirping and flowers were in full bloom." After nearly 10 minutes of ranting, she told the manager that today was their 28th wedding anniversary.
"How lovely," the manager said. "However, you do not qualify for the discount. Today is not your anniversary. You are a liar."
How did the manager know it wasn't their anniversary? The calendar repeats itself every 28 years. So if they were married on a Sunday 28 years ago, the day they came to the restaurant would also have to be a Sunday. But since it was a Thursday, the manager knew they were lying. John called the police to report that his friend Mark had disappeared. He explained that 2 weeks earlier, he had offered Mark to live in his beach house in Miami. He wanted his friend to enjoy some summer heat, but when John returned from a half-month-long business trip to Chile, he found out that Mark was missing. The police listened to John's story and understood the man was lying. How did they figure it out? If it was summer in Miami, it was winter in Chile. And still, John came back suntanned. It means he hadn't been to Chile. Maya was in the gym doing the workout her personal trainer had prepared for her. It was tougher and longer than her usual ones. Exhausted, Maya returned to the changing room only to find her expensive bag gone.
Oh no!
She immediately called the police. They had 3 suspects. Maya's trainer said that he had been preparing a new program for his clients. Emma, another gym goer, said she had been running on a treadmill for 2 hours. The cleaner said he had been washing the swimming pool. Who took Maya's bag? It was her trainer. He knew Maya was going to have a long workout and wouldn't return to the changing room anytime soon. Amber's husband, Carl, is an artist. Can you guess which one of these ladies is Amber? It's the lady in the middle. She has the same paint stains on her clothes as Carl has on his jeans. Carl gets an invitation to visit a mysterious fortune teller, Morgana. She has built a maze so that only smart people could reach her house. Which one of these routes should Carl choose? Only the first path will take him to the final destination. Morgana treats Carl with a welcome drink. Only one of these 3 drinks is safe. Can you guess which one? The first drink. There's a human tooth inside the second glass, and there are too many flies around the third drink, so it's probably not fresh. Morgana says,
I've got a surprise for you. People put it on the table but never eat it. What is it?
Can you guess? The correct answer is a pack of cards. Carl gets his brand new pack of cards. Morgana offers him a mind game. From the pack of 52 cards, she places 4 cards on the table face down and gives Carl 4 clues about the card. Card on the left cannot be greater than the card on the right. The difference between the first card and the third card is 8. There's no single ace among these 4 cards. Also, there are no face cards. And finally, the difference between the second and the fourth card is 7. Can you help Carl guess the values of all 4 cards? Alright, let's put everything on the table. The task was to guess the value, so we can pay no attention to the suits. The first card has to be 2, and the third card has to be 10. There's simply no other way the difference can be 8. The first and the fourth clues reveal that the fourth card can only be 10. And, thanks to clue 5, we know that the second card amounts to 3. So here's the correct answer. Carl successfully solves the riddle. Morgana is impressed. She says,
Now that I see you deserve my gift, I will give you a magic amulet that will turn you into the richest artist. These 3 tunnels lead to the room where the treasure is hidden. You must choose wisely if you want to stay safe.
There's a rhino cuddling her calves in the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with gas, which is fatal for any insect. There are thousands of venomous snakes crawling around the third tunnel. Which way is more or less safe? The second one. Nobody said that the gas is dangerous for humans. The next day, Carl feels sick and goes to the hospital. He meets these 3 women in the lobby. Can you find a doctor's wife among them? Take a look at the poster. This doctor is a dentist. The first lady is his patient. And the third one is his colleague, so the second lady is his wife. 3 doctors approach Carl, but one of them is fake. Can you guess who? Take a look at this guy's badge. There's a female picture and a name on it, so he's probably an imposter. The doctor invites Carl to his lab. Can you help him find these 3 items? Here they are. In the evening, Carl arrives home. He spots 5 weird things about this place right away. Can you see them too? The house number is hanging upside down. This raccoon is talking on a cell phone. The bicycle is moving without a rider. This lantern doesn't have a lamppost and floats in the air by itself. And finally, these flowers in the garden are blooming in the middle of winter. Carl enters his house. Surprise! His friends prepared a secret party for his birthday. Everything goes well, but suddenly the lights turn off for 30 seconds. When the power is back again, Carl sees that someone has sneaked his lucky amulet from his neck. He questions 3 suspects. Rick says, "I was cooking snacks in the kitchen. The light turned off so suddenly. Bella says, I was in the middle of a chess game when the power turned off. And Ren says, I've been dancing in the living room for the last 30 minutes and the dark didn't stop me. Who's lying? Bella. She said she was in the middle of her game, but all chess pieces are standing in their initial positions. Bella escapes with the amulet and flies away to Seychelles with her boyfriend Josh. Can you guess which one of these guys is Josh? The second guy. He's lying on her beach raft. Bella is watching a boxing match on TV. It's a friendly match between two heavyweights which consists of 12 rounds, but it was finished after the 7th round because the boxer knocked out the other one. But during the match, no man threw even a single punch. How can this be possible? Easy. It was between two female boxers. In the hotel, Bella has only 3 neighbors on her floor. One of them is turning into a zombie. Can you guess who? This lady. It's hot. Why is she wearing a warm scarf? Bella leaves her hotel room to get some ice. 2 minutes later, she returns and finds out that someone had broken in. How did she know? When she was leaving, the balcony door was opened and now it's locked. It was Carl who robbed Bella. He just took back his amulet and ran away to the roof. Unfortunately, now he's trapped on the roof of the hotel building. It's 200 feet high. There's a hook on the roof and another hook 100 feet down from it. Carl finds a 150-foot long rope and a sharp knife. How can he climb down safely? Carl should cut the rope into 2 parts, 50 and 100 feet. Then make a knot at the end of the shorter rope and put the longer one through it. Then he should slide down the ropes and untie the longer rope to be able to use it again with the second hook. Carl uses his lucky amulet and his art becomes super famous. One day, he receives a phone call from the police. They arrested a group of criminals who tried to sell illegal copies of Carl's artwork. They confiscated 3 paintings. Carl said that one of them is original. Can you guess which one? The first painting is a mirrored version of the original work. The second one has a barely visible handprint. Therefore, only the third painting is original. Carl exhibits a huge collage in a gallery. Can you spot any outstanding images? This guy over here. Carl goes to the gym for a morning workout. He sees something weird and freaks out. Can you spot what's wrong? A huge spider is crawling out of the ventilation. Carl puts his bags in a locker before going to the gym shower. He locks it and takes the key with him. He hangs the key on a hook together with his towel. After bathing, Carl finds out that someone had stolen the key and robbed his locker. He questions 3 suspects, but all of them say they were taking a shower and didn't see anything. Who is lying? The third guy. Take a look at his feet. They're too dirty for a man who has just taken a shower. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime. So Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th. So the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old. Yet, she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked,
What day of the week is today?
No one knew. The father said, I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday. The mother said,
And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday.
And Adele, an older sister, said,
Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday.
What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, Lion's Den. On the second door, there was a sign saying, Mountaintop. On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No.
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, I was reading. The maid said,
I was dusting the corners in the house.
The chef said, I was baking an apple pie. Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa, look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth, and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Marjorie owns a farm. There are 6 apple trees and 7 lemon trees on her land. Each apple tree has 12 fruits, and each lemon tree has 10 fruits. How many oranges are there in total? Zero. We didn't say that Marjorie has any orange trees. Marjorie inserts her diamond ring in a glass bottle and closes it with the help of a cork. Then she takes the ring out of the bottle without taking out the cork or breaking the bottle. Can you guess how she did it? Easy. She pushed the cork inside the bottle and then took out the ring. Marjorie lost her smartwatch somewhere in the fields. She uses her phone to detect the current location of her gadget. The phone draws 3 possible routes, but only one of them will actually take her to the smartwatch. Can you help Marjorie choose the right way? Route A is correct. Early in the morning, Marjorie enters one of the farm's barns. Oh no! Someone broke all the bottles with cherry juice. She asks her 3 workers to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, she interrogates them. "Who did it?" Marjorie asks. Frank replies, "Yesterday in the afternoon, I put all the cherry juice bottles on the shelves and left home. I don't know what happened." Phil says, "I didn't feel well last night, so I didn't touch the juice, and I went to bed early." And Anna says, "Yesterday I painted the fence all day. I didn't even enter the barn." Who's lying? Anna. She said she painted the fence, but it doesn't look freshly painted at all. After a long working day, Marjorie wants to relax and goes to the public swimming pool. She spots something really weird in the shower. One of these ladies is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady. She's using ketchup to wash her hair instead of shampoo. Marjorie meets her 3 best friends by the pool, Megan, Sarah, and Raven. One of them gave birth to triplets 4 years ago. Can you guess who exactly? Raven. Take a look at her hands. She's wearing 3 DIY bracelets with the word Mom. The triplets are now 4 years old, and her jewelry looks like something that they could have crafted. Marjorie and her besties go to a concert, but only one of these people is a real musician. Can you guess who? It's the second guy. The first lady put her sheet music upside down. After the concert, Marjorie takes a walk down the local street. There are 100 houses numbered from 1 to 100 on the street. Can you count how many times they use the digit 9 to number all the houses? The correct answer is 19. The mystery can be solved using simple math. The digit 9 should occur in the following numbers. All we need to do is to count the number of 9s in this sequence. Marjorie comes home late at night and sees something creepy in her living room. Can you see it too? There are 3 ghosts in this room. What about the warehouse? Can you spot any ghosts here? Hello? Let's take a look at the bedroom. Ooh, there are 5 ghosts. Can someone call Ghostbusters? The next morning, Marjorie goes picking apples on her farm. Suddenly, someone spills cherry juice on her head. She noticed that someone climbed on a tree to pull that prank, but she didn't see this person's face. So Marjorie interrogates 3 people working on the farm that day. Frank says, "I was watering vegetables far away from the apple trees." Phil says, "I was in the kitchen preparing ingredients for the lemon jam production, just like you asked me." And Nina says, "I was in the garden picking lemons for the jam." Marjorie figures out who did it right away. What about you? It was Phil. He tore his shirt and a piece of fabric got stuck on the branch of an apple tree. A group of tourists arrives at the farm and Marjorie gives them a fun tour. Unfortunately, one of these guests is a thief. Can you guess who? This lady. She's sneaking cash from another person's purse. It's raining heavily all day, so Marjorie stays home alone and fries pancakes in the kitchen. Suddenly, she realizes that she had forgotten to switch off the TV in the living room and goes there. In a minute, Marjorie returns to the kitchen and gets speechless. Why? Can you guess? When Marjorie left the kitchen, one prepared pancake was on the dish, but now it's gone. All the windows are locked. So, who did it? Suddenly, Marjorie hears weird sounds from the basement. She goes there and finds the thieves. A family of raccoons broke into her house and sneaked the pancake. Can you count the exact number of animals in the basement? The task was to count the number of all animals, so the correct answer is 7. There are 4 raccoons, 1 cat, and 2 rats. The next day, Marjorie goes into her sunflower field to check how the flowers are doing. Can you spot what's odd here? There's a socket built into the ground. Marjorie goes to Megan's birthday party. One of the guests has the number 2 written on his forehead, and the other has 3. Megan offers everyone a game. All 3 of you have a number on your forehead. The number on one of your foreheads is the sum of the other numbers. All the numbers are unique. Now, you can't talk to each other. If you guess your number correctly, you won't have to wash dishes. So, can you guess Marjorie's number? It could either be 1 or 5, but if her number was 1, the guy with 3 would see that and guess his own number. Therefore, Marjorie has the number 5 on her forehead. The next day, Marjorie enters the farm's main barn. It's time to plant flowers in larger pots. She takes off her diamond ring to protect it from dirt. Marjorie puts it on the table. The process is almost finished, but suddenly Marjorie's phone rings and she leaves the barn to answer the call. After a while, she comes back and sees that the ring is missing. There are only 3 people on the farm today: Frank, Nina, and Megan. So Marjorie says, "One of you has taken my ring. What were you doing when I left the barn?" Frank replies, "I was in the bathroom washing pumpkins with Nina." Nina replies, "Yes, we were washing the vegetables." And Megan says, "I was just taking selfies with pumpkins. Who took the ring?" Look at this bird cage. It was opened. The canary bird flew out and took the ring. There are 3 sets of lab equipment on Marjorie's table. Can you sort the odd one out? This one doesn't have a flame. Marjorie throws a harvest festival at her farm. Her friends and coworkers chill all together. Can you spot any zombies among them? This dancer in the bushes doesn't look alive. As evening came, bright stars and a new moon showed up in the sky. Now Marjorie has to choose one of these 3 tunnels to escape. There's a family of creepy werewolves hanging out inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is a home for mutant bats. They feed on humans and stay awake 24/7. And there is an unknown monster hiding in the third tunnel. Unknown because no one had ever returned from there alive to tell. Which tunnel is more or less safe to enter? Marjorie should choose the first tunnel. It's a new moon, so the werewolves are not dangerous yet.
Alfred wants to be a supermodel, so he visits a fancy audition in New York, hoping for the best. There's a line of his rivals standing in the lobby. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? This guy with the snake eyes. Daisy the photographer invites Alfred to her studio to take some shots. After a couple of days, she receives printed pictures and freaks out. Why? Take a look at Alfred's body in this picture. Both of his feet are right. Amazingly, Alfred gets his dream job. A famous magazine invited him to shoot their cover. He arrives at the studio early to get ready. Before the start of the photo shoot, Alfred looks in the mirror. Gross! There's an allergic rash all over his face. Alfred interrogates 3 suspects. The assistant says, "I was told you're allergic to peanuts and berries, so we've prepared only safe snacks." The makeup artist says, "I didn't touch your food. I put on your makeup and left for a coffee break." And the cleaning lady says, "I know how sensitive models are. That's why I only use organic, hypoallergenic cleaning products." Can you guess who's guilty of Alfred's allergy? The makeup artist. Even though she didn't have access to his food, she was the only one who had access to his face, and she could put toxins in his makeup. Alfred gets hired as a model for a clothing catalog. He's asked to put on these trendy jeans. Can you count the exact number of holes in this piece of clothing? These 2 holes go through the pant legs, so in fact, These are 4 holes, not 2. As for this hole, it's only on the front of the leg, plus 1 hole. But that's not all. These jeans also have 3 more holes, 2 on the bottom of the pant legs and 1 on the belt. So, the correct answer is 8. Alfred stayed late in the studio to write a post, and now he's finally going home. He walks along the dark hall of the office building. Suddenly, Alfred hears someone screaming for help. The voice comes from the broom locker. He opens the door. "Daisy, who closed you here?" Daisy replies, "I have no idea. I went to the 8th floor to eat in a Chinese restaurant, but it was closed for maintenance all day. So I decided to go home. Then, someone put a garbage bag on my head and locked me in here." In the morning, Alfred interrogates 5 suspects. The cleaner says, "I was washing the windows on the 8th floor." The makeup artist says,
I was cleaning my brushes in the bathroom.
The assistant says,
I was helping the makeup artist, but I went home earlier.
The stylist says, "I had dinner in the local Chinese restaurant and then went to a concert." And the cameraman says, "I was sick yesterday, so I went home early." Who locked up Daisy? The stylist. The Chinese restaurant was closed yesterday. The 6 friends get trapped inside the cave. Unfortunately, they had left all the food in the camp. That's why they're starving while waiting for the rescue group to arrive. Suddenly, Alfred finds 5 cookies in his pocket. Can you find the easiest way to divide these 5 cookies among 6 people equally? They should split the first 3 cookies in half and divide the remaining 2 cookies into 3 parts. This way, each person will get 1/2 and 1/3 of a cookie. Alfred returns from his vacation and checks his email. He sees 3 new job offers. Francis invites Alfred to participate in New York Fashion Week. Julia offers good money for a shampoo commercial. And Crystal offers him to be the face of a famous clothing brand. One of these employers is a scammer. Can you guess who? Crystal, the spelling of the brand Gucci is wrong. Alfred arrives at the shampoo commercial filming spot. He enters the dressing room and sees his actress partner, Amber. She has a short, messy haircut. Amber yells, "I took a 30-minute nap and someone has cut my beautiful long hair!" Alfred asks 3 suspects one question. What were you doing the last 30 minutes? The makeup artist says,
I was streaming a backstage video for my followers.
The guard replies, "My coffee break started 30 minutes ago, so I went to the vending machine and bought hot chocolate. But then I received an assignment to catch a stranger with scissors. I kicked him out and returned to my workplace." And the stylist says,
Oh, I spent the last 20 minutes in the toilet. I shouldn't have eaten seafood for breakfast.
Can you help Alfred spot the liar? It's the guard. He bought the hot chocolate 30 minutes ago, but why is it still hot? Alfred arrives at the Fashion Week. He's staying in a hotel with a roommate, Billy. Alfred takes a brief look at Billy's suitcase and spots 3 weird details right away. Can you see them too? Why does he need the shaving cream if he uses an electric razor? The book title is printed upside down, and there's no pair to this sock. Alfred goes to a fancy party full of celebrities. 4 guys want to impress him. They learn that Alfred was born in Australia, so they come up to him, tell their stories, and show some pictures. Jake says, "I'm so excited to go on a road trip around Australia this summer." Peter says, "I'm a travel blogger. Last summer in Arizona, I got some great kangaroo shots." Will says, I'm a super broke guy. I've only been to New Jersey so far. And Oliver says, I donate money for charity projects in Australia. Once, I saved a little koala. Who's lying? Peter. Kangaroos only live in Australia. Alfred leaves the party. But suddenly, he finds out that he had left his phone in the club. He returns and questions 3 people standing nearby. The waiter says,
I was busy with my orders. I didn't see anything.
The cleaner says, I think I saw your phone on the sofa. But when I looked there again, it was already gone. And the manager says, there are no phones in our lost and found office. Who took Alfred's phone? The waiter. She has Alfred's phone case hidden in her boot. The next morning, Alfred enters the gym. He takes a look around and freaks out. Why? This lady is not from this planet. She has a completely transparent belly. Alfred is now wealthy enough to afford a new apartment. He locks all his documents and money in a safe that he found inside his bedroom, but now he can't open it. Alfred finds a list of codes nearby, but he doesn't know which one is correct. Can you help him figure out the code? These buttons are used a lot, but only the third combination includes all these numbers. Alfred goes to his granny and spends holidays in the country. There, he meets his school friend, Dan. They haven't been talking for years. Dan begins to boast. I've become a famous blogger. My videos on YouTube get millions of views. Dan shows Alfred a video from his channel, but Alfred looks at the video and immediately realizes that Dan is lying. How? The gap between likes and views is too huge. It's impossible. Dan just took a screenshot and changed the numbers in Photoshop.
A hat and scarf cost $110. The hat is $100 more expensive than the scarf. How much does the scarf cost? $5. It means that the hat is $105, which is exactly $100 more than the scarf. Mia was a shop assistant on a giant cruise liner. Once, she found an expensive watch in the boutique where she worked and announced it on the radio. Soon, 4 people showed up in the store. Each of them claimed it was their watch. Mia looked at all of them attentively and realized who the watch belonged to. Can you figure it out too? This man does have a watch tan line, but it's much bigger than the watch Mia found. This young girl already has a watch on her left hand. Why would she wear the second one? The elderly lady must be very absent-minded. Her dog is wearing her watch as a collar. The watch must belong to the teenager. Nick was an experienced skydiver, but one day, something went wrong. A strong gust of wind brought him to the forest. The man found himself among trees with no food or water. Soon, Nick saw 4 roads in front of him. One led to a supermassive black hole that swallowed everything that got close. The second road ended in a sea full of sharks. The third road led to a mountain that was impossible to climb over. And the fourth road ended in a bottomless abyss. Which road should Nick take? He should follow the third road. No one says he has to climb over the mountain. He can simply go around it. During which month do people sleep the least? During February, it only has 28, maximum 29 days. A man is on the run from the police after he stole 3 massive gold bars, 30 pounds each. At some point, he reaches a long bridge that can support only 260 pounds. The man weighs 200 pounds. How can he transport all 3 gold bars in one go? He has to walk across the bridge while juggling the bars. It means that at any time, only 2 bars will be on the bridge, since the third one will always be in the air. Look attentively at these 3 men carrying a log. One of them is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the man in the middle. For one thing, he's wearing a suit, which is a strange choice of clothing for such a task. Plus, his face is quite relaxed, and his eyes are open. It doesn't look as if carrying the lug feels like hard work for him. One evening, Emma went to take out the trash from her coffee shop. She was about to leave when she spotted something dark in the corner behind the trash bins. It was a young woman, and she was unconscious. Emma rushed to her. The girl's bag and smartphone were lying nearby on the ground. The first person on the contact list was named Big Sis. Emma called the number and heard a female voice. "I found your sister lying on the ground. It seems someone hit her on the head."
What?
The woman was shocked and promised to come immediately. Next, Emma called the police. The sister and police officers arrived at the same time. "Arrest this woman. She's behind the attack."
Oh.
And Emma pointed at the sister. Why did she say so? She didn't tell the sister where to come. How did she know the address?
Oh.
There are 4 cups on the counter, all of them upturned and hiding the same number of sweets underneath. Near each of the cups, there is a sign that says how many sweets are under it. The signs are 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 6 or 7, and 7 or 5. Only one of these signs is correct. How many sweets are there under each cup? Since only one sign is correct, the right number can't appear twice. Otherwise, more than one sign will be correct. It means that there are 8 sweets under each cup. Luke took part in a scientific experiment, but something went terribly wrong. He ended up in a place where there was nothing but 3 portals. One of them led to a polar desert in Antarctica. The second one opened into a volcanic crater filled with molten lava. And behind the third portal, there was the age of dinosaurs, with huge diplodocuses roaming around. Which portal should the man choose? Luke would freeze in no time in a polar desert. Molten lava isn't even an option. But diplodocuses are totally harmless to people. They only eat plants. Look at the picture attentively and say which of these people is left-handed. It's the waiter. It's easier for a left-handed person to hold the tray in the right hand and deal with the food and drinks with the left, dominant hand. Detective Henry Taylor was getting ready for work when he heard screams from his neighbor's house. He rushed there. The door was locked. The man had to kick it several times before it opened. He found his neighbor, Miss Anderson, in the living room. She was tied to a chair. "Oh, I'm so happy you heard me shouting. An hour ago, a man knocked on my door and said he was an electrician. But as soon as I let him in, he tied me up and took all the priceless paintings I had got from my grandfather, and then he just ran away." Detective Taylor had to arrest the woman for staging the theft. How did he know? When he tried to get into the house, the door was latched from the inside. Who could do it if Miss Anderson was tied up and the thief supposedly ran out of the house in a hurry? You have 5 pieces of chain, and each of them is made up of 3 links. You have to make a long chain out of these 5 pieces. Welding an open link will cost you $3, and breaking a link open is $1. Can you make a long chain if you have only $15? First, take one piece of chain and break all of its 3 links open. It'll cost you $3. Then link the remaining 4 pieces of the chain with these open links. Welding these links will cost you another $9. In total, you'll only pay $12. In the middle of a long flight, 2 passengers stood up and started to threaten the crew and passengers. They demanded $1 million in a helicopter. One of the criminals had a pilot's license and could fly a copter. When the plane landed at the nearest airport, the passengers got everything they had requested: a case full of money and a helicopter. But when they got inside, they didn't manage to fly away and were captured by the police. Why couldn't they start the machine if the helicopter didn't have any technical problems? The helicopter was okay, but there was no fuel in its tank. Michael got lost when he was walking in the forest. After hours of wandering around, he finally saw a weird-looking house that seemed to be deserted. Still, the guy decided to try his luck and ask for directions. But when he entered the house, the door shut behind his back with a loud bang, and he heard a voice: "You've entered my home uninvited. You won't leave it easily." Oh no. After that, Michael found himself in a room with 3 doors. The voice told him that only one of those doors led to freedom. Behind the first door, there were starving wolves. The second door hid a furious werewolf. And behind the third door, there was a huge, raging campfire. Which door is safe? Michael should wait until the campfire goes out and get out of the house through the third door.